Hey guys, what's up? We are back with another video today, and today we are doing another Chicago Bears mock draft. So as a Bears fan, help me out. Only 7% of my viewers are subscribed, so go ahead, hit that subscribe button down below. Our goal is 900 subscribers before the end of February. We are 27 subscribers away. Bears fans, I know you can do it. Don't let the Cowboys fans outdo you. They got me 25 subscribers in their video. Make sure that you like this video. That will help out if you're already subscribed. If not, comment your thoughts and opinions down below. What picks do you like? What picks do you don't like? Give me a draft grade. I am looking for your input on this. So this is my first mock draft for the Chicago Bears post Senior Bowl. So this is a time period in which I have a lot more knowledge, having the Senior Bowl reps, being able to listen to all sorts of podcasts and views. A lot more draft coverage has started, and after the Super Bowl, it should get even more draft coverage going to where you can learn more about these players with pro days and with combine and stuff like that. It's a little bit easier to learn about players that are a little bit smaller school, stuff like that. Either way, let's get started with today's video. So, we got another trade alert here. There will be trades in this draft. So, we send the number 1 overall pick to the Indianapolis Colts, and in return, the Bears get the 4th pick, the 35th pick, the 79th pick, a first-round pick next year, and a second-round pick next year. So, basically, 2 firsts, 2 seconds, and a 3rd. Just so you know, this trade was offered to me, and I think, to be honest, it's somewhat realistic. I know some people are like, that's way too much of a haul or stuff like that, but it's a very real possibility that the Texans give the Bears 2 top 12 picks, moving up from just 1 to 2, or moving up from 2 to 1, I'm sorry, wrong way. Either way, point being, I think that this is actually pretty reasonable. And I think, to be honest, it's reasonable the Bears move down from 1 to 2 and then move down from 2 to 4 or 2 to 7 or 2 to 9, whether you're moving down with the Raiders or the Colts or the Panthers. Either way, let's get into the players that I've started to select. So, with 4th pick, I selected mylesmurphy, the edge rusher out of Clemson. Both jalencarter and Will Anderson were gone in this mock draft, even though that is pretty unrealistic. The Texans drafted Will Anderson in this draft class, so, well, okay. There wasn't much I could do, and mylesmurphy, I think, is a top 5 pick. I think that he could go to Seattle, and if in some crazy scenario, 2 guys are drafted in the top 3, I do think that mylesmurphy is worth a top 5 pick. I like him at number 4. Though jalencarter and Will Anderson are players on a different level, I do actually kind of like Murphy's fit better with the Bears than Will Anderson's fit, because Murphy is more of a 4-3 edge rusher and Will Anderson is more of a 3-4 outside linebacker. He would fit better in Vic Fangio's system than he does in the Matt Eberflus, Alan Williams system. So, moving on to pick number 35, I have the Bears solidifying the offensive line by drafting Darnell Wright, the offensive tackle out of Tennessee. I think that you can either play Wright at left tackle, or if you think Braxton Jones is good at left tackle, then you can play him at right tackle. I think that the 2 guys are interchangeable. I don't think that they have to play one side or the other. Technically, you could play either one. I don't really care personally. I think that both players are solid enough, and that's the reason for drafting Wright, is it gives you the opportunity that if you think Braxton Jones is your left tackle and you can put him at right tackle, then it starts to solidify the right side of the line. And now, with the solidified right side of the line, you are able to to really start to focus on maybe getting a new center and replacing a Lucas Patrick. Though, my personal opinion, from what I've been hearing from the Bears or their organization, Patrick looks like he's the future center for this organization. I really would be surprised if he's not come next season, even though he was injured this season. And maybe you cut Cody Whitehair and you also draft a guard. And we'll address that later on in this mock draft. So, pick number 58. I selected Drew Sanders. Okay, one thing I do need to preface with this is that I traded pick number 53 to get pick number 58 and pick number 123 with Seattle. So I dropped 5 spots and picked up an extra pick later on in the draft, just so you know. with pick number 58, I drafted Juice Sanders, linebacker out of Arkansas. A really versatile guy, big-nosed linebacker. I think really implies what Flus is looking for in his hits principle. I think that really works for him. So I think that Drew Sanders really fits there. And then with him and Jack Sanborn, you have 2 of your 3 linebackers. And if you want to re-sign Nick Morrow or Matt Adams or whoever it needs to be, preferably somebody better than Morrow or Adams or stuff like that, but you have 2 of your 3 linebackers. Pick number 64, I have Kalali Kancey, the defensive tackle out of Pittsburgh. So he is a really solid defensive tackle that's been rising up boards into possibly first-round territory. And obviously, in the end of it, he probably won't be a third-round pick, which is kind of where this pick is in the 3rd round. I think he will probably be more of a early second, late first round guy, maybe middle of second, but 3rd round, possibly the guy slips, but really has shown up on a lot of people's radars because of just being able to watch film and stuff like that. And he's like, I agree with him, a really good, solid inside defensive interior guy that outside of Jalen Carter, there really isn't a solidified number 2 in this draft with Brian Bursee's problems staying healthy and stuff like that. So with pick number 79, I have the Bears selecting Xavier Hutchinson, the wide receiver out of Iowa State. So here's the thing with Xavier Hutchinson. Really, I think he is extremely underrated. I really like Xavier Hutchinson, think he's a tall, big, athletic wide receiver that really fits the mold of Allen Robinson. And I'm not saying he is Allen Robinson. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that. But he's big, he's tall, he's athletic. He can go get the 50-50 ball. He's semi-fast. He's 4.5. So a little bit faster than Robinson, but not that much faster. Really just one of these guys that I think could start to creep up boards with the combine in a pro day style throughout that. Then with pick number 103, I have the Bears selecting Joe Tippmann, the center out of Wisconsin. And here's part of the reasoning. I know I said earlier in the video that the Bears probably keep Lucas Patrick, and I think that's probably true. But what I will say is this. I don't know that fact. And Lucas Patrick can also play guard. And here's what I mean by that. If the Bears want to cut Cody Whitehair, save some money, spend it on something else, draft Joe Tippmann, have him play center and Lucas Patrick at left guard, maybe that could fit around to where you have a functioning offensive line, unlike last year. So I think that could be a possibility. And plus, Tippmann also adds valuable depth that you saw that if Lucas Patrick gets injured, it's important to have a backup. And I think Tippmann does just that. So at pick number 123, I select Zach Pickens, the defensive tackle out of South Carolina. Again, we go back to addressing one of the weaker, probably the weakest defensive line unit in football. And I think that really helps that defensive line, especially on the interior between Kancey and Pickens. I really do think that you have a solid offensive line going into, or defensive line, going into next year. Though I think that you're going to need to add some in free agency, but we'll get on to that. We'll dissect that later on. But either way, at pick number 134, I have the Bears selecting Dalen Henley, the linebacker out of Washington State. Like I said earlier, I think the Bears need another linebacker. And even though Dalen Henley, I wouldn't prefer him to be a day one starter, I wouldn't be outraged that he is. I think that he's an improvement on what you currently have, and unless if the Bears get a linebacker in free agency, 2 linebackers in the draft, as long as you trade back a little bit and get some extra picks, is not unreasonable. So I think Henley has started to also shoot up draft boards with a good performance. I think it was the Shrine Bowl. I'm sorry, I'm getting the Shrine Bowl and Senior Bowl guys mixed up a little bit, but I think it was the Shrine Bowl in which he had a good performance. really played well at that, and really started to show his athleticism, his ability to cover linebacker, or not linebackers, slot receivers and tight ends and stuff like that. I think that he could be a valuable piece, and hopefully you would sign another linebacker, and Dalen Henley would be your number 4 linebacker, which I'm perfectly happy with. At pick number 137, I have Jaden Reed, selected out of Michigan State. He is a wide receiver that has started to become known around Bears circles as loving Justin Fields and coming out of Naperville. If you do not live in the Chicago area or know nothing about Chicago geography, Naperville is a city right outside of Chicago in its suburbs. Jaden Reed really grew up a Bears fan, loves Justin Fields and his play, and really, even though I don't think it's necessary to address the wide receiver position too much in the draft, personally, I would rather address that in trading for Devontae Adams or DeAndre Hopkins, or trading or signing Keenan Allen if they cut him with the Chargers or stuff like that. I think that's a better way of doing that, but I think he is a good wide receiver, and I think I like his fit with the Bears and his excitement for playing with the Bears. At pick number 159, I select Julius Brents, the cornerback out of Kansas State. Brents has simply shown in his Shrine Bowl performance that he is one of the better cornerbacks in this class. And even though I'm drafting him later on, I think he can shoot up boards. I think that he could become a possible 3rd-round pick, and I'm really high on this guy as somebody that could improve his stock with a pro day and a combine experience. Finally, one last player. At 210, I drafted Yaya Deba, the edge rusher out of Louisville. To be honest, I don't know too much about him other than Bootleg Football likes him. If you do not know what Bootleg Football is, make sure that you look it up on YouTube. I highly recommend it. I'll try to put it in the cards up above. But they do a great job. One of the players that they really saw shine in the Senior Bowl, and I kind of looked back, saw some of him, and I think I agree with his explosiveness, with his bend and stuff like that. I think he plays well. So that's going to wrap up today's video. Make sure you hit the 2 videos down below. One will be the playlist of all my mock drafts, including my Bears ones. Hit the subscribe button up here. Help me reach 900 subscribers. And as always, have a great day. Bye, guys.